Okay, I'm here in the woods looking for mountain lions. And before anybody says it, I know there's no snow on the ground, but I can't control the weather, okay? Now, I got a tip that the mountain lion is in someone's house and it's just over the hill. So, hopefully we can find it and catch it and save the person before it causes any harm. Let's go. Okay, so I found the mountain lion den in the house. Don't question it. Alright, now I'm gonna try to get it out. Okay, here goes nothing. Ah! Well, that didn't go very well. Let's just get this review over with. Hey, it's Jay, and my 8th favorite film of all time is Wind River, a film that I think is criminally underappreciated. So without further ado, let's get into the plot. So in the winter season on the Wind River Indian Reservation, U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service agent, Corey Lambert, played by Jeremy Renner, discovers the body of one Natalie Hansen, played by Kelsey Chow. And it seems as though she has died from running in extremely cold temperatures, which, if you don't know, if you run in sub-zero temperatures, it causes your lungs to freeze, thus causing hemorrhaging. And so she basically died of internal bleeding from the sub-zero temperatures, as well as some severe frostbite, seeing as she had no shoes on and was wearing extremely light clothing. So an FBI agent by the name of Jane Banner, played by Elizabeth Olsen, wow, I can't talk today, is called in to help investigate this possible homicide. But it doesn't seem like they're taking this matter seriously, seeing as they sent her in on such short notice, and she's not even wearing the proper attire. So she probably didn't even know where she was going. She's wearing like summer clothes, like you or I are wearing right now. So it seems like all hope is lost on this case. So the next day, Jane goes and interrogates Natalie's father, Martin Hansen, played by Gil Birmingham, about Natalie's personal life, and he confirms that she has been seeing a guy, but he does not know his name and doesn't know his whereabouts, which is good and bad because now they have a link to a possible suspect, but they don't know where he is. They take Natalie to get an autopsy, and it's confirmed that there was also some blunt force trauma to the head, as well as vaginal bleeding, indicating that there was some form of sexual assault. However, the doctor can't really say a cause of death was homicide, so they can't really call in a backup unit, seeing as the cause of death is up in the air as of right now. And fun fact, the doctor is actually played by Eric Lange, who plays Psychowitz on Victorious, so that's a little fun fact for you guys. While Corey was out on the reservation, he actually ends up discovering Natalie's boyfriend's body, who is revealed to be Matt Rayburn, played by John Berthal, the Punisher. It is naked and heavily ravaged by the wildlife like coyotes and mountain lions, and so that's some information that can lead towards, finding out who did this to Natalie. As they're working together, Corey and Jane, Corey's mainly helping Jane to help her navigate the land, seeing as he's, an expert here in tracking and things like that. He tells her about how he lost his daughter too and found her body in the snow after a party that she threw while he and his now ex-wife were away. So in many ways, you can see why Corey is so determined to, find out who did this to Natalie, to kind of serve justice on, on this girl who shared the exact same fate as, Martin's daughter. So it's really great to see how they parallel that to give Corey a reason for being there to help out and why he's so driven to do so in the first place. So Jane, accompanied by a police force led by Ben Shoyo, played by Graham Greene, go to the drilling site where they meet with a bunch of security officers to try to find out what's been going on. They say that Matt stormed off after a huge explosive argument with Natalie and was never heard from since. And they also heard that they found Natalie's body over, the radio, since they're all connected, being in law enforcement. But Jane's like, but we never said her name over the radio. So now suspicion is starting to, come a little bit more clear. And everyone's starting to get very paranoid. And you could see this paranoia start when the officers are kind of starting to surround the security guards because, it was very suspicious that they know the name of the person when they haven't even brought it up. And so this huge confrontation of weapons drawn, everyone's pointing at who, and nobody knows who to listen to. And finally, Jane calls out that she has FBI, authority, and everyone holster their weapons. And so they do, but you can tell that the tension and the atmosphere between these characters is very high, and at any moment, anybody will, snap, and then the bullets will fly. So she asks to see where Matt was bunking, and they take her to that place. And in a beautifully done transition, as she goes to knock on the door, it's actually Natalie going to Matt's trailer. So now we're in a flashback. And Matt and Natalie are just trying to have a nice night to themselves, maybe get a little intimate. And because he feels like he knows that the other guys are out on a night of just drinking and partying and, being very vulgar, but they come home and they come back to the camper and they see that Natalie is half naked and they know that John's half naked. So they start to taunt her, and Pete, one of the security officers, is very vulgar, very rude, a disgusting human being, and tries to, sexually assault Natalie while Matt's sitting right there. This, makes Matt get a little violent and starts, punching Pete. And they all the security guards gang up on him because they're all drunk too. So they're all in a drunken rage, and they start beating the crap out of Matt. And while they're doing that, Pete knocks Natalie out after she tries to defend Matt. And so she's out cold, and Pete takes this opportunity to begin to rape her. And, the scene is so... It's amazing, and it's also so horrifying that it's hard for me to talk sometimes about it. And so Matt throws himself into the fray as kind of like bait, and they start to brutally, bludgeon him to death. But this allows Natalie to escape, which brings us back to the beginning of the movie where we just see Natalie running alone, cold, scared out of her mind, into this reservation and collapses. I'll be talking very heavily about that scene in the review portion because it's just so many things to say about it. So while this is going on, Corey is actually retracing the steps of where he found Matt's body back to the site that Jane and Officer Shoyo are actually going to right now. And he radios Shoyo that this is a trap. This is a huge trap. And as Jane's knocking on the door to try to get Pete to come out, Officer Shoyo's like, Jane, get away from the door. But it's too late because Pete fires a shotgun blast right through the door, hitting Jane in the chest. Good thing she was wearing a bulletproof vest. And an all-out, firefight just breaks out. Guns flying everywhere. This results in all the police officers being killed and a numerous amount of security guards being killed as well. But 2 remaining security guards go to execute Jane, who is very weak after taking that shotgun blast to the chest. But it's a good thing Corey raced down the hill to get to where they are now and takes out the rest of the security guards, including not including Pete, but severely injuring Pete with his very high caliber rifle. It's kind of like a sniper in the situation. Pete tries to flee, but in his weakened state, Corey is easily able to catch up and overpower him and knocks him out. And he brings him up the mountain, and he's just like, I just want to talk. I'm not the law. You can tell me the truth. I can't convict you. What happened? And he just slowly starts to manipulate Pete into telling him the truth by saying, if you tell me the truth, I will let you go. I'm a man of my word. Just tell me what happened. And he reveals everything that happened, that night. How they brutally beat and murdered Matt. How Pete raped Natalie when she was unconscious. all that stuff. And Corey's like, all right, you told me the truth. I'm a man of my word. And cuts him free. And Pete's like, so what do I do? And Corey's like, I'm giving you the exact same chance that Natalie had. I want you to run that way. I found her 6 miles from your bunking site. That's not easy to do, running barefoot in sub-zero temperatures for 6 miles. I want you to run. You're not going to last. You're not a warrior. You're not a fighter. You're a Weasley piece of shit who raped an unconscious girl. I'm giving you that same chance she had, so you better get running. And he starts running, and he barely makes it any further. He barely makes any distance. And he succumbs to the hemorrhaging in his lungs, and he dies right there. So justice has been served for Natalie's death. And it's a really great scene, just on both ends. The Weasley, Pete, and just the calm yet cold Corey in just trying to get what he wants to hear. So Corey visits Jane in the hospital and just praises her for her, courage and bravery, being so outnumbered and able to still continue fighting and loading up her gun, even though it seems like all hope is lost. And he goes back to visit Martin to tell him that no one went missing, because he got a call that said that the perpetrators have all gone missing. But Corey's like, no one's gone missing. And earlier in the movie, Martin kind of enlists the help of Corey to be like, find the son of a bitch who did this. And so when Corey says no one went missing, he understands that as, all right, you got him. So then he asks, well, how'd he go out? And Corey just says, with a whimper. And they sit and they look out on the beautiful reservation, just mourning the loss of their daughters. And it's such a great way to end this movie. So let me get this rant out of the way, because I don't want to take up the rest of my reviewing portion. When this film was heavily in talks around Oscars season, this is when the massive Harvey Weinstein scandal happened, with all the sexual assault. And I'm not defending Weinstein. He's a, scumbag human being and deserved his name and credibility, to be tarnished. But this film was completely ignored because of that very fact. Because of Weinstein and his antics. Because of, just all these allegations against him. And, his reputation just being trashed, by these horrific cases. And they tried so hard. The director, Jeremy Renner, they all tried so hard to get this film away from his name, to not tarnish its chances of winning an award, and it didn't work. They ignored it. Which is weird, because this film focuses on sexual assault in women. Harvey Weinstein was accused of sexually assaulting numerous women. And it's also hugely representative of Native Americans. There's two title cards that pop up at the end of the film, very end of the film, that says every missing persons case takes statistics and numbers from every racial group, every ethnicity, except for Native Americans. And no one knows where these missing people are, because no one's taking the time to bring awareness to their cases. So this film is not only, talking about sexual assault on women, a huge issue we face, it's also giving, justice for people whose people don't seem to care about in terms of missing people reports. Why is this not something that should have been at award seasons? If anything, the Weinstein scandal should have helped this film, in my personal opinion, because it's showing why this isn't right, why this needs to be stopped, why this needs to be this, why this needs to be that. It blows my mind that a film this solid didn't get a single recognition because of one man's act. And this one man's act is perfectly exemplified in this film as to why it's immoral, horrific, horrendous. And it didn't win anything. I don't get it. It pisses me off to this day that this film got ignored because of Harvey Weinstein. It really does. It pisses me off. And that's all I have to say. I don't want to rant too much about it. I don't want to make this a political thing, but it makes no sense to me how a film like this did not win award seasons did not win award season. See, I'm so flustered. Did not win any awards at awards season. Just anything like that. So, now let's get to the review. This film is so solid. It's amazing. Let's just start off by talking about the Wind River Indian Reservation. Gorgeous scenery. Beautiful mountains covered in snow. The wildlife. Corey hunts mountain lions at one point because, well, not really hunts. He just gets complaints that there's mountain lions in the area and he needs to go take care of that, being, an agent he is. And they just perfectly complement the scenery and the wildlife and the trees, and just everything is so gorgeous. I'm not making like blood seem like a good thing, but even when people are like bleeding, the fact that we're on snow just really adds to the drama and the effect and, the heavy hitting nature that blood brings in situations of violence. It, punctuates it so much better that it's contrasted on this white snow. It's great. Another reason why I'm so pissed off that this didn't win a single award at award season is because the performances in this movie are unbelievable. Jeremy Renner as Corey Lambert should have won something. And if not him, Gil Birmingham as Martin Hanson. Though he had a tiny role, every scene he was in, you could see on his face the revenge he wanted to take on the people who did this to his daughter. The mourning, the hurt, the heart, just everything on his face. He didn't even have to talk. If Martin Hanson did not talk that entire film, you would still understand exactly what he was going through and exactly how he was feeling, caught up in the moment of everything that was going on between the loss of his daughter, his wife, from the trauma of this, is literally an emotional wreck. She is not who she used to be because of this situation. So everything's just like accumulating and you could see it on his face. Elizabeth Olsen was amazing in this film too. And I also need to interject because a lot of SJW people out there were saying that the white man came to the rescue of these people and he was mansplaining everything to Jane. Jane was sent in to this reservation unprepared, no knowledge of what was going on, and just nothing on her side. Corey works there for a living as a wildlife agent. He knows how to track footprints. He knows how to track snowmobile, tracks. He knows how to do all this stuff. So why wouldn't he be helping her out? Oh, okay. Next time we send in this this FBI agent who has no idea what case she's even taking, what conditions she's going to be working in. She knows everything. We don't need anybody to explain anything. Is that like she doesn't know what she's doing? She doesn't know anything about this reservation. She may know what she's doing in another case that she was well prepared for, was given extensive information as to who the victim was, what we're working with evidence-wise, everything like that. But in a situation, no one out there can say that they know they're an expert when they're thrown into a situation and it's just like, well, here you go. You figure it all out. So I'm tired of that whole mansplaining argument because she doesn't know anything about the situation she was put into. Doesn't know where she was going, doesn't know anything about the victim or if it's a homicide or suicide or anything like that. It's just like, here's your assignment, have at it, kid. You know what I mean? So I'm tired of that argument too. And it's just so many great performances. Even of like the scumbag Pete. The scene where Corey is giving Pete his chance to, let out his sins and give him a chance to, run free is so good because you have Corey who's very calm, but you can also hear the tone in his voice like, oh, you son of a bitch. Like, I knew it was you, but just hearing it makes me want to kill you right now. But I'm not going to do that because that's not why I'm here. But you can hear it in his voice. And now I have to talk about the rape scene, the scene that drives this whole movie forward. And I said in the review, it's a beautiful yet horrifying scene. And what I mean by that is I'm in no way saying that rape or anything sexual assault is beautiful. I hope that wasn't misconstrued. But what I mean by a beautiful shot is that the cinematography of the angles that they capture everybody, you can see from like a point of view perspective everything that's going on from the person's eyes. I love the shots of them all just ganging up on Matt, bludgeoning him, because the angle is kind of lower, tilting up. and you could see every hit forcefully, put upon his face. You could feel every hit, and it's you can and they I love the effect in movies when they kind of cut the audio and bring it back in, because when Natalie is getting assaulted by Pete, the audio slightly raises as if, you, the audience, are also regaining consciousness with the character who is knocked out. And, everything and the fights that are going on between, whether it's Natalie fighting for her life, fighting to, stop this abuse that's being put on her, or John just, throwing fists, just blindly throwing fists, just doing anything to make sure that Natalie could get out of that trailer. And it's just, everything works so great to make it such a beautiful scene, and one of the most horrifying scenes in any movie I've seen. I rewatched the movie, before I always rewatch the movies before I, go through with the review. And that scene comes on, I get so uncomfortable. It's such a, horrific scene, but it's shot so beautifully that you can't help but admire it. You know what I mean? And not to mention, just the shot of Natalie running in the snow, in the dark, in what is sub-zero temperatures. Not just because there's snow on the ground, but because there's harsh winds blowing. We all know what wind chill does to temperature. It makes it feel like it's 0 degrees constantly. And she's barefoot, and she's got just like a light jacket with like just some pants on. No snow gear whatsoever. So they not only is having snow on the ground showing how cold it is, but just the wind, the fact that she's underdressed, you feel how cold she is and how much she must be suffering internally by just running in these sub-zero temperatures. Everything about this film is shot so beautifully, and you could feel the frustrations when the doctor's like, I can't rule this as a homicide. There's not enough evidence to prove that. I can't. You could just feel the frustration between Jane and Corey, like, are you kidding me? And when things go, astray, when the father's like, I don't know who her boyfriend is, I don't know where he is, it's like, oh, that could have been such a great piece of evidence. It's just such a frustrating film in that sense, where it's like they just want answers, and it seems like no one can get them because, and, God, it's so well shot, so well done, and it's still, to this day, if I had to do a list of worst Oscar snubs of planet Earth, Wind River would take positions 10 through 1. I just feel like everyone deserved Oscars for this. Well, the whole cast, the whole movie, everything. And it's just all Harvey Weinstein's fault that this movie didn't get the recognition it deserved, even though I feel like Weinstein's horrific and just disgusting acts should have helped this film get the awards it deserves. So, that's all I have to say about Wind River. If I had to give it a rating, well, I do, because it's my, review channel. I'm giving it a 4 out of 5 stars. Highly recommend it. Like I said in the beginning, though, if you are very uncomfortable by very sensitive things like rape or sexual assault, I don't recommend watching this film, seeing as that kind of drives the plot. But other than that, I still recommend it, because yeah, it's uncomfortable. I get uncomfortable watching it every time it's on. But it's great that they showed it the way they did, because it's good to know why this is driving the movie forward so hard. So that's all I have to say about that. 4 out of 5 stars. It's a great film. Highly recommend it. Please go out and check it out. It's on DVD. I have it. It's phenomenal. So until next time, we're going to be doing Toy Story 4 next week, and I might have a special guest on. Who knows? So if you guys want to see that, make sure you subscribe, click the bell icon to get notified when I upload next. Leave a comment, like the video, everything like that. Share it with your friends, everything like that. I'd really appreciate it. And until next time, guys, that is a wrap. Uh-oh. There's the mountain lion, everybody. What you doing? What you doing? Chilling? Alright, everybody, say hello to the mountain lion. I'm a cat, Renner. Yes, named after Jen Renner, who starred in this movie. She loves bags, as you can tell. Renner. Can't, oh, okay. No. Alrighty then. Alright, attacking nothing, we love that.